Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Mount Pleasant Waterworks Tropical Update for Hurricane Irma. It is Sunday, September 10th, 2017, and it is 12:15 p.m. as I am recording this. Just wanted to give you a quick update, and I'm using the video format in addition to the email because there are a couple of things I wanted to show you that I can't really do in the email format. So quickly, bottom line is there aren't a lot of changes from yesterday as far as what we expect to see in the Mount Pleasant Charleston area. This is the 11 a.m. position of the storm and the current forecast track. The track has shifted a very small bit back to the east or to the right as it comes back through Florida. Earlier track was slightly more offshore, having it just barely skirt the coast. It's a little more onshore now. Some of the models even think it's going to come slightly east or to the right of this track, but it doesn't matter a whole lot at this point. Bottom line is it is coming right up the west coast of Florida, so this track should be pretty good confidence in basically this track. Could certainly be slight differences to the right or left, as always. I wanted to show you an animation of the current forecast, and I've got a feature turned on in the software here that attempts to estimate the wind speed over land, taking into account the impact that trees and buildings and hills and things like that have on the land. So I've got that turned on. These numbers over land should be a pretty decent real life estimation of the wind speeds that you would actually see at any given point. Wind speeds over water are going to be more because there are no trees or buildings or hills to interfere with the wind and to impact the wind speed at the surface. So that's why there's such a big difference. You'll see that here, for example, 47 miles per hour right at the beach, and you come inland just a little bit and it's saying 24 miles an hour, and that in my 15 or so years of using this software, these numbers have proven to be pretty close. So we'll move this forward. This represents, based on the current forecast, the 6 a.m. position tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Monday. So we're in these outer winds. The yellow ring represents the estimated radius of tropical storm force winds. So 39 miles per hour or greater from this point in toward the center of the storm, less than 39 miles per hour sustained outside this yellow circle. This is very much an estimation, so there is no hard line that divides where it's 38 and where it's 39. And the software is attempting to analyze beyond that a little bit, but understand it is going to be breezy and gusty well outside of these numbers that you're seeing. It's just not going to be anything significant. So we'll move this forward. This is 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon tomorrow. You can see that the estimated tropical storm force wind field based on this forecast and this size and estimated location of these wind field boundaries do change somewhat from forecast to forecast, but on this particular forecast at 1 p.m. it's beginning to move away from us. 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 7 p.m. Notice that the other wind fields, the red ring and the orange ring, which represent other wind speeds, have collapsed. This represents the center of the storm. No longer an eye wall being displayed. So the storm is definitely collapsing. And you'll see this is also collapsing in on itself as we move forward. 8 p.m., 10 p.m., midnight, 2 a.m., and it's almost gone. Again, understand that the software is analyzing the hurricane, so it's seeing that the hurricane basically has almost dissolved at this point. There will still be breezy conditions throughout the entire southeast and still rain through the entire southeast, but as a tropical entity, the hurricane itself is basically gone at this point. So that's the animation of that. I just wanted to let you see what the current thinking is and the current realistic estimated winds over land. You can pick your location through that animation and figure out what you should realistically expect to see. Here's kind of another version of that same thing. This is based on the GFS global model, and the colors that you're seeing are estimated wind speeds near the ground level. So I'll put this into motion as well. And here this would be 8 a.m. Monday Eastern Time with the center near the Georgia-Florida line. And you can see from the colors from the scale over here what the winds are doing, and immediately along the coast and over land in the Charleston Mount Pleasant area we're in the greens and maybe some yellows, so 20 knots, and these are in nautical miles per hour, so 20 knots to 30 or so knots maybe, right along the coast and up on the coast. To convert knots or nautical miles to regular miles per hour, multiply whatever number this is. So for example, if we were in the green and that's 20 knots, multiply 20 times 1.15, that will give you miles per hour. So not a whole lot more, but miles per hour will be a little bit more than this number you're seeing here. So I'll go ahead and move this through, and you can see it's kind of similar to what the hurricane software was showing. It continues to show the system as a low pressure system, and you can still see some of the wind. So as I was saying, below 20 knots, pretty much the entire southeast is still in these breezy, gusty conditions. But as far as damaging winds that are specifically hurricane related, that sort of goes away. Okay, so that's just kind of a different version of the same thing. The other thing I wanted to show you, I'll take this back in time here, back to the where it was initialized, and do precipitation. So this is kind of precipitation rate for the 6-hour period that each of these steps shows. Green is rain, and the light green is light rain, heavy dark green is heavier rain. The really intense rain is when you get into the yellows, oranges, and reds. So we'll move this through time to give you an idea of the expected rainfall. This is about 8 p.m. tonight, 2 a.m. Monday, 8 a.m. Monday, 2 p.m. Monday, 8 p.m. Monday, and the heaviest rain has pretty much now left the Mount Pleasant area. We're still getting some residual. So you can see the heaviest rain, based on these current forecasts, more misses us than it has in the past few days. We're still shown in the 4 to 6 inch potential rainfall range. But the more accurate specific forecast at the moment is more like between 3 and 4 inches. But that's very hard to forecast exactly what rainfall is going to be. So the last thing I wanted to look at quickly is just current radar. So here you can see what the current radar is looking like. There are some heavy rains out in front of the system. This is the actual hurricane in here. This is some rain that's being pushed out ahead of it. And this could, if this holds together and continues to move, Mount Pleasant, Charleston area could possibly begin seeing some of this late today, tonight even. And if that's a little hard to see, I'll change this to let you see the state of Florida a little better, to get an idea where the rain is, and then bring that back in. So Florida is pretty well covered with rain. Again, the yellows, oranges, and reds are the heavier rain. So that is it for today. No real changes for the Mount Pleasant area. Still expecting possibly 25 to 35 mile an hour gusts at times. Occasionally higher gusts are certainly possible, and areas immediately at the coast on the beaches could occasionally see higher gusts than that, but as far as wind goes, doesn't look like anything significant. Storm surge for the Mount Pleasant Charleston area is still in the 1 to 3 foot range in storm surge prone areas, so that doesn't appear to be a major issue. Rainfall forecast in the 4-inch or so range possible over the course of the rest of the storm. So for the next 2 days, may not be that much if the structure of where the rain is remains consistent. We may not get that much rain. It may be in the more 2 to 3 inch range, if even that. So that's it for today. You guys stay safe, and we will do another update tomorrow. It may not be a video, it may just be email. So stay safe and stay tuned. There will be more.